Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Ryan Robinson.
Hi, how's it going?
And what have y'all been playing this week?
Brian, you want to go first?
Yeah, okay, so check this out, y'all. I got myself a Sony PlayStation 5 entertainment system. You know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
So check it.
Heard of it once or twice.
Yeah,
Do you know
so,
what that is, Tom? Have you heard of this thing?
Yeah, I got one
yeah, yeah.
in December.
Okay, so I've been playing a lot of games. But this is also because I was telling Tom about this via text a few hours ago, but I didn't realize that this sumbitch would download and install the game so fast. I was I was ready to wait a couple hours per game, but nope. It's like 10, 15 minutes. It's crazy. Anyway, so because of my PS Plus membership, I had access to a few games. I had Destruction All Stars, Bug Snacks, and yes, I think those are the only two that I actually got around to redeeming for my PS Plus, as far as I can remember. So, but like many people, most of the games that I've been playing have been PS4 games. Um, that's okay though. I'm still playing Resident Evil, not Resident Evil. I'm still playing Persona 5 Royal. Uh, I
Same.
I am in the month of September now.
Ooh.
And so it's the summer vacation is just ending for the kids, but all of summer vacation was spent hanging out with them, advancing some storylines between the characters and stuff like that, and it was really nice. Um, Also, I tried out Bug Snacks, which I don't know what it.
Sounds mediocre.
Uh, I mean, I haven't played enough of it to have like a real opinion of the game. I played
People
maybe
really seem to love it,
yeah
but I haven't touched it at all yet.
I played about
I mean, it's just the name of it. I'm like, if I just hear a game called Bug Snacks, I'm like, oh, that's a mediocre game.
Yeah.
um, so I played about maybe 30 minutes of it, and I've gotten to look at a few of the Bug Snacks, and they're it's fun. It's fun in a weird way, but it's like it's giving first. I don't know what it is, but the game is giving me Slime Rancher vibes. Um, but overall, the game is it's neat. So for if you haven't heard of Bug Snacks, it's this game where you're exploring this new place, and there's all these insects called bug snacks that are half bug, half snack. So
Okay,
there's one that's a strawberry bug. There's one that's a French fry spider. It's called a frider. Uh,
that's clever.
there's this there's a cheeseburger one that's like kind of like one of those beetles. It looks a little bit like a beetle, and it's called a bunger. Um,
Cheeseburger, not a snack.
yeah. Well, it depends on how you look at it, man.
What
Bec-
was the what was that toy for like kids where you made the bugs? Like you put the little gel in there.
Doctor.
Creepy crawlers.
No, that was
Creepy crawlers. So it's kind of like if McDonald's made creepy crawlers.
yeah, McCrawlers. Uh, but so what I understand is that's the story of that game kind of goes places and talks about a lot of different themes like depression and things like that.
Oh,
I've been
I
playing
would
it.
not expect that
I haven't
from the
well
description.
yeah apparently like that game
Also, from the guys that made Octodad, you would not expect that.
yeah
Oh,
yes
okay. See, yeah, I have like no context at all. So also in the beginning, I was thinking about bug juice, that little like drink you had as a kid,
Nope.
and those were me. Y'all remember that?
Uh-uh.
Those,
never heard of bug juice.
they're like the little, they kind of like little like barrels, but they're plastic and
Oh,
see-through
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
cheap.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I didn't know they were called bug juice.
I think it was just one of the brands
Oh,
of
okay.
them.
Yeah, I remember the barrels though. I do remember the barrels. That shit was gross. Um,
Yeah, so that's why that was a mediocre game because I was like, oh, it's about that.
yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's not about bug juice. Uh, but yeah. So I've also checked out Destruction All Stars, which i- it's okay. It's
Swing and a miss.
yeah. It's like I was like on it like on its face on paper I was like this sounds like a cool idea, and it's not like it's not a game that I would say is it's not I wouldn't go so far as to say it's bad, but it's very light on content. Um,
And they were originally going to charge $70 for it.
yeah. So what I feel pretty confident that they were like, well,
They were feeling confident.
I feel pretty confident in like saying like, well, it worked for Rocket League, so let's make our game free and it'll blow up Shoot the way Rocket League did out the gate, but no. Um, so basically, the core conceit of the game is you have all these characters, the titular All Stars, and there are different game modes, but all of them circulate around the idea of you're on foot until you get inside one of the random cars that's on the field, and then you guys run into each other to get points, and then when your car explodes, you jump out of it, and then you get into another car. And each character has what is called a hero car, which has unique stats and a special attack that can only be triggered in that car. Um, the game is, it's all right. It's but like I've played it.
Oh,
I played a total.
Ain't no bug snacks.
It's look. It's no bug snacks. It's not. It's got no bungers. All right, but it's all right for what I paid for it. Um, but also, I think the most noteworthy game that I played it was Demon Souls. Um,
Nice.
so I actually played the original Demon Souls pretty recently, like within the last few months, because I have a copy of it still, and we have a PlayStation 3 hooked up in our bedroom, and I loaded that up for like the first time in a decade, and uh, it didn't it played much in the way that I remember, but playing this version of the game, the Blue Point version of the game is like it looks a lot better for one, but it just also feels better. Like the game, like the combat feels a lot tighter than it did in the original version, and I don't know if they have made the window for parrying attacks more forgiving, but I'm doing it. Well, then I must be awesome at it because it's happening a lot more frequently than for me than any other Soulsborne game that I've ever played. So maybe I'm just hey look maybe all this time and practice.
Maybe you were just playing the wrong one.
Maybe yeah I was playing the wrong one. That's what it was. But no it's the first time I've played a Souls game in a while, and it kind of like playing it and going through like the levels and looking at the environments. Like I'm kind of remembering why I like those games so much. I'm definitely going to use a guide because I'm turned a new leaf in my life where I don't have time to figure out games anymore. So I'm just going to use guides.
Isn't Demon Souls relatively linear though?
Yeah, so it's pretty linear in that like you have that hub and then you have all the different places you can go from the hub.
Yeah.
But the way that you negotiate each because the level progression
compacts?
yeah, well the level progression itself is pretty linear, but navigating through those environments is fairly non-linear. So I kind of want to go and I want to be more strategic about it and I think that'll increase how quickly I progress through the game. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've also checked out the PS5 version of different games that came out on PS4. Like I checked out the PS5 version of Control. That game is still great. That game is still a lot of fun. I'm not wholly on board with the whole giving me feedback in my controller every time I take a step. I'm not.
You can turn it off.
Yeah. Well, I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna play it in the way that they want me to play it and see if I ever really get tired of it. Um,
You got tired of it.
I'm not really at the point yet, but like I also kind of just wondering like I'm really not seeing like the benefit of it, so I probably will turn it off. But the game is still a lot of fun. It looks, it still looks great. Um, but yeah, and
It looks a lot better.
Yeah, it does look a lot better.
At least from the base, it looks a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. And the last thing I did, like just to test out, because I got really curious as to how quickly can my PS5 download the biggest game that I own. And so I told it to download Red Dead Redemption 2, which is about 100 gigs. And it was like a half hour. And I immediately texted Tom. And I was like, holy shit, it only took 30 minutes. What the fuck? Last time it took like 2 hours to download this sumbitch. But then like even like loading from the title screen, usually like 2 minutes. Like 2 or 3 minutes to do that initial load. But this time it was like 30 seconds. And I was like, wow. So... But
the future's here.
Yes. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I've been doing. Just like kind of tooling around with like other like PS4 games. But yeah, so far so good. So that's me for this week.
What about you, Tom?
Okay, so I've still been playing Sekiro. Progression is going slow. Kind of stuck on this boss.
Which boss?
But I don't know his name. Something in the Seven Swords.
What's he look like?
I don't know.
Oh,
he
that
looks
one.
like a fucking samurai dude with a spear.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like
This is
that.
the guy that's kicking my ass. That's all.
But I don't really. What I would rather talk about is Maquette. I finished Maquette.
Oh,
which
yes.
is fucking great.
I've heard so many great things. I actually just downloaded that.
I am not aware of what Maquette is, so.
So it's a Annapurna published game.
Okay.
It's a puzzle game, a first-person puzzle game, but like it's based on Rushing Nesting Dolls, but it's not like stacking from Double Fine. You're solving these puzzles. Like you have this environment, and around that environment is the same environment but larger, and around that environment is the same environment but larger. And you can move things in one environment to affect things in the other. And it's just very clever.
So some Annapurna bullshit. Yes, love it.
Yeah, it's got like this love story, sad love story. But like, I don't really understand how the story like correlates to the gameplay at all. But
you're loving
good.
it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so I finished that like, I mean, that's a one-sitting game,
What's it on? Mobile?
PlayStation 5 and 4 and probably everything. I don't know.
Okay.
But it's free on PS5, so that's what I played.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a one-sitting game, but I think I'm going to try to do the trophies, because I've got most of them, except for, like, there's some speedrun trophies. And I know the answers, so I'm like, it can't be that hard to do it fast, But yeah, so that's been a lot of fun. I played some Crash Bandicoot 4. So I got my kid for Christmas, for his birthday, for something. I got him Crash Bandicoot 4 because he wanted it for PlayStation 4. Well, Sony just gave you the PS5 version for free if you have the PS4 version. So I've been playing that. Really good. Really good. If you're into Crash Bandicoot, it's really good. If you're not, it's not going to change your fucking mind, know.
The one Crash game that's really going to change the franchise.
Yeah, and then I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that's been a lot of fun. Much better than I thought. Like I enjoyed the demo. I talked about the demo when it first came out, but like it's really good. It's not exactly what I wanted, but like it's really good.
What were you hoping for with it?
I was hoping for more of the menu-based combat.
Okay.
Which like this still has that kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of it has that sort of, right? And then you can play the classic mode, which is literally just picking menu options.
Right.
But like the classic mode is also fucking baby mode,
Yeah.
and I don't want to do that. Like,
Yeah.
why couldn't they give me the
I'm not a
classic
baby.
mode?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they give me that mode with like all difficulties instead
Sure.
of just making it the easiest difficulty? You
Yeah.
know. So, but I do really like it so far.
Because they want people to know that like the ones that bitch about like, I want the old way to play it. Well, you're a
Yeah.
baby.
I guess. But yeah, really good. That's it, really.
So
I'm sure I've played something else, but nothing important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I've been saying it every week that Ryan's been playing it, but how him playing Persona makes me want to play it. And so
But yet you don't.
I've been side eyeing Persona 5 Royal, and then I went and bought it this week.
Oh shit! Cool.
And I asked for the guide that Ryan's using, and like I realized. So it begins in April actually. And so I realized like at the end of April that the reason I wasn't hitting the markers that it was in the guide is I forgot about that if you have the confidant in your party, it boosts your like stuff whenever you talk to them and hang out with them. So I started off on a wrong foot with that one. So I'm kind of just using it very loosely, and mainly for the cross puzzle or the crossword puzzle answers, and like when I should like look at the TV for like a knowledge question.
I didn't have a problem without the guide before, like you'll be okay.
I mean, I use some stuff like if I got like kind of like lost or was like looking up, or if I was about to leave something, because there was like a time or two that in the first time I played it, I finished early and then I went in and I like did one thing and then it was like, okay, you gotta leave for the day, and I was like, well,
sure,
fuck, I guess I was like I just like messed up my like what I was trying to do. So I mean, but I've been having a lot of fun. I like a lot of the changes, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Is that like I like the little grappling hook that's been added. That's super fun.
That thing's cool.
It adds a lot more verticality than like the first game. I like the seeds of power or the will seeds or whatever. Have like a little bit of extra hiding in there. I really, really like that in Royal they changed it to where ammo recharges every round. And then also the thief assists. So I thought you could only use them originally because all I had was the auto recover from having Persona 5, and so I thought you could only use it in like the safe rooms, and then I realized you could use it all the time, and I was like, well, I don't like that, so I'm going to continue just to use it only in safe rooms. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. Like I'm excited to learn more about the new characters. I finished the museum, the second palace. I would be a lot further, but I did that stupid thing where I thought I had saved and I didn't, and I closed it.
That's happened to me a couple times.
And I hadn't saved it so I had finished Kamoshida's palace, and last time I saved it was before I started it.
Yeah.
So that was super fun. But yeah, I'm excited to find out who the gymnast girl is. I really like the traits that the personas have now, like where they have like the that baseline stat that you can move around. I think that adds a lot more interest in the personas. And yeah, no, I'm excited to keep playing through. I'm excited to find out more new stuff. It's kind of like funny because sometimes I'm like, do I just not remember this, or is this different?
Yeah. Like as I've been playing through it, like I'm at a certain point where it's like I'm past what I remember from the original version of the game. And so like Kayla will keep asking me like, is this new or is this always there? I was like, I don't know. I've never you've played more of this game than I have, so I don't know. Yeah, the stuff that they added is really fun. I like what they give, like there's two kinds of utility with the grappling hook that they allow for, which is really cool. But as far as like you advancing your confidence and everything, like the game gives you a lot of ways and plenty of time to catch up on like if you've fallen behind with them. So Like you're not really in any danger. For as far as I can tell, you're not really in any danger of like falling too far behind with them. So
Yeah. I thought it'd be like interesting to do it like exactly. But then fuck that up, so fuck it. uh I don't know. I find this like so the counselor confidant is like a weird thing because like I have him on rank 2 or 3 now. So like I'm just meeting the guy. I don't really know him, but like I can't tell if he's supposed to be a creep or not. I guess not because he's a confidant. But his character is weird. I don't know. I'm not like
because he's a
super
guidance counselor.
just like like the second or third time you talk to him, he's just like going on about finding a cat in a tree and how sad it is. I'm like, what is this?
Some people
Japan.
some people are affected by that sort of thing, like very deeply, Shanae. So maybe you should talk to that counselor a little bit more to increase your empathy toward how people feel about cats and trees.
I also had
I
to find cats in Final Fantasy. Like, it's just a fucking thing.
find it like I don't. I also wonder, and I'm gonna go back after the show. I already like have something pulled up. I'm gonna look at it, but like I don't remember like the sexy Anne skill you get. The one where she can like distract an enemy
I remember
and it's
that
like a
one.
chance of it. I was in the first one? Okay. I was
Yeah.
like I guess I just like didn't pay attention to it, but I read that I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
When did this get here?
that was in the original version too.
Yeah.
You probably liked
I
it
mean,
too
it's
much
just
the first time around and didn't really pay that much attention to it.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm just saying like I guess I was just like all right whatever like I ranked up maybe it's because my TV was smaller I didn't like really read them or something I don't know but that kind of threw me off and I'm glad you told me because I was gonna look it up I was like this is a weird thing to add like mid game or to like not a mid game but like a new game like or a remake of the same game.
No, you knew what game you were buying, Shanae.
But I'm playing that. Still playing a little bit of uh, Codex Realize, and yeah, that's about it. Codex Realize, and Persona. That's all I'm doing.
Hey, has Persona always had it? Like, because the only two that I can actually remember like clearly are 5 and 3, and I don't feel like I feel like I'm about 10 years removed from 3, so I guess I don't feel like I remember it that well. But
Yeah.
has Persona always had a thing about trying to make teenagers sexy?
Yes.
Has that always been a thing?
Well, it's not just Persona. It's a lot of like those games. I mean, it's just a lot of games in general, and
I
also
think it really
TV.
just depends on how it is you are, perceiving that. Like, I wouldn't say that they're like objectified much or anything like that,
Sure.
Like, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I've never
No,
I've never
I
played
can't
4,
tell you
so
about like Revelations Persona. I haven't
yeah,
played,
yeah.
but
I've never played
Like
4, so I don't know, but
I mean, I didn't remember the sexy. It is called the sexy and technique.
yeah,
I don't remember it from the first one, but I mean, like, it's not worse than anything you see on Riverdale.
yeah.
So, like,
sure. I
uh,
was just curious.
But like the two main females in Persona 4, like one is a fucking goof,
Yeah,
and one is just fucking quiet and shy, and like
yeah.
it's really it. They added like one additional female character for Golden,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say she's like overly sexualized or anything.
Like everything I know about
not like
Persona
Anne.
4, everything I know about Persona 4, I know from watching Kaylee play Dancing All Night. So,
I would imagine the dancing games are a bit more sexy,
maybe. Um,
you know.
we'll
So
just have
the
we'll just have to see. But
Also, I never got like the DLC stuff with Persona 5, like the original one. So because I got all that DLC stuff for free, with like Royal, I've been having a lot of fun with the costumes.
Right on.
Does Persona 5 have Power Rangers costumes?
I believe
Not
so.
any of the ones that I have.
Oh,
They do
Persona
have
4
one
has
called.
Power Rangers.
I'm pretty sure there's a Power Rangers style costume in one of the DLCs, but
Probably. Um, but like, I like the Catherine one. It makes me laugh.
now you want to talk about sexy games?
That's a sexy game.
Yeah.
But this week, though, y'all wanted to talk about games referencing things outside of the video game sphere.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't really know what like where you want to go with this.
The game
I just
sphere.
want to
Last
talk
minute.
about it. I just want to talk about our favorite instances of it. Like I was thinking about the games that I really like, games you guys have heard me talk about way too much on here. You know,
Yeah.
spoilers. I'm going to talk about them again on here. But like, like all
Surprise.
of them have references outside of video games, and I think it's just something that I really like. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think that a lot of the time when it comes to video games, I think a lot of like that video game fandom kind of like it always has it has like crossfire with like other kinds of fandom, like be it movies or sports or whatever. And so you can kind of get like a general idea of like based on who made the game, you can kind of get a general idea of like the things that they kind of like by the references they make in the game. So that's really kind of cool.
Yeah, and while I do mean that, right? Like, I played Hunt Down for the first time a few weeks ago.
Hell yeah, that
and
game
there's like
rules.
a poster that is very obviously the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
So like, while I do mean pop culture stuff, I also mean other stuff as well.
Sure.
So you know, I don't know. Do you guys have any examples or?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So one of my favorites actually is in Watch Dogs 2. So there's a mission where the characters Marcus and Wrench are driving across the city to do some mission or whatever, right? And by open world standards, the drive is kind of long, right? So they start having a little conversation about different things, but then they start talking about like who would win between Alien and Predator, and they have this like long conversation about why Predator is better and why Alien is better, and like it's just really fun to listen to because like
That's cool.
like on one hand, like I love both Alien and Predator, so like it's fun to listen to video game characters talk about that. But it was also really neat because like it further illustrates like the kind of friendship that these two characters have with each other.
Sure.
And like these are the kind of conversations that they have because you know they're also really big fans of like very cheesy Steven Seagal like action movies too. So they really riff on that, and it's really neat because I've never actually heard. I can't think of an instance before where I've actually heard of actual real life movie franchises like referenced by name in a video game before. So it was really neat.
Fuck. What sucks about that is like, there's one that I'm thinking of, like a movie reference, and I can't fucking remember what it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got with Bioshock, so I kind of went a different way. But I really love that in World of Warcraft there was a group of people based off of Skeksis from the Dark Crystal. I heard they're called in like the World of Warcraft legend, but they're just basically giant Skeksis. And the entire time I would just like be giggling to myself, just like wait.
I've never seen Dark Crystal, so I don't know what a Skeksis is.
So like Dark Crystal is like a Jim Henson puppet movie, but like it's dark. But
It's not
like,
Muppets, Ryan.
Oh, okay.
Don't watch it thinking it's Muppets.
Because
It's not
that's what
actual
I was actually thinking.
but,
I was
but
like,
there's like
Kermit?
it's like a like it kind of like hits a similar vein of like uncomfortable that like you ever watch The Labyrinth with David Bowie?
Yeah.
Like those like flamingo characters that would like take their heads off and stuff and
You know
like move around all weird, and like also like the hands parts too.
What?
So it's like whenever Sarah is falling down the well and there's like the hands like catching her and they're like talking to her and they're like down her up.
Huh. I haven't seen that
I-
movie since
I-
I was like 8, so I've seen it.
But yeah, but yeah, it's like it's just kind of like it's just like like they're puppets, but they're like unsettling kind of looking puppets. But
Sure.
there's like little lemmings, and there's like bird people that are called Skeksis. And there's one in particular that is trying to communicate with these lemming things. And there's like a part where he's just like, wait, wait, and he's just louder and more terrifying when he's like trying to help them or talk to them.
Sure.
And I don't know why that like, but it's a thing that lives in my brain.
And
Yeah.
Warcraft did that.
No, and Warcraft, yeah, they had an entire section. It was like a whole like questing area, and they put like the Skeksis people in there and like changed their story, but the design is all Skeksis.
Like for sure, that's what it is.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
confirmed that that's what it is. There's there's a bunch of different, obviously, like Easter eggs and pop culture
Yeah.
references, and wow, but that's like the benefit of being an MMO is there's enough NPCs to go around.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, but that's probably the one that sticks to me that like I remember like seeing that and just being like, I would have not expected to see you here.
Yeah.
I was thinking of it more like in general, like things that you like referenced in games, because like with the Bioshock thing, I thought you meant like the In Ryan thing, and
Rand. Yeah.
Rand
Yeah.
thing,
And Ryan.
so whatever. And Ryan.
And one.
I mean, so like my original idea, like going into this, was like God of War, because I was a nerdy kid who liked mythology, like
Yeah, I
Greek,
mean
Roman.
that. Yeah, I
yeah, all
totally
of
mean
that.
that too.
Yeah.
And,
And, like-
all of my examples are more like that. You
I
know?
see.
And like yeah, so like the original God of War, like the part reason is because like I very rarely get to play games like that weren't like board games at the time that I played this originally. And like also just like I felt like a badass, and I was like all these things. I'm like, I know what this is. I know how you're related. Wait, this is a little off, but like I know this, and it was like super exciting as I went through. And then I'm like, I'm kicking your ass. So just added another layer of like why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
What are your examples?
My favorite one probably is from the Phantom Pain. We've talked about it in here before, but like Phantom Pain is basically Moby Dick,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's fucking rad.
That
you
shit
know?
even has a whale in it.
Well, yeah, there's a whale in it, but like the whole you can call me Ishmael thing, the whole
Yeah.
Pequod thing, you know, like, yeah. The story is basically Moby Dick as well. Like, yeah, I just think it's fucking awesome, and obviously that's what he's going for. Otherwise, he wouldn't use things like Ishmael or Pequod or like, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I really like that kind of stuff, man. I want more like that.
Yeah. It's funny because like I think that for the like you're very much more, you've read a lot more books than I have. So like I feel like I've played so many games that directly reference books in that way. But like
Sure.
I totally miss it because I haven't read like I've never
Yeah.
actually read Moby Dick. I just know that there's
Yeah.
a whale and a crazy guy trying to kill that whale. But
I think like I think there's like a Moby Dick character in like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Just watch that.
like
It's the same.
yeah.
Same.
So
Same.
Moby Dick's the whale, right? So there's that whale's in that movie.
Moby is a singer, songwriter,
Yeah,
performer.
sure. Moby.
It's about that guy.
Another thing I thought of also was American McGee's Alice Madness Returns. Originally when I played that, I knew there was a game before, but I didn't really know. And I knew like obviously it's Alice in Wonderland, but I didn't know like that there was actually like a story beforehand.
Yeah.
So I just thought but I mean that's what drew me to it. I was like, oh, like I've read the original like Alice in Wonderland. I was like, awesome, I get to hear like all about all these creatures that I remember, and it was like nice nostalgia tour on that one as well.
Yeah.
Do you think it's weird that they give her the name Alice Little when she's never Alice Little in the books?
I mean,
See, that's one of those sticking points
I
that
think it's just like something that like as far as as far as I have known her, and also when I read the book, like at that age that I was, like I didn't remember that she was never given a last name, or if she was, what it
Well,
was,
so
and
the
I just heard
character Alice is based off of the real world Alice Little, who
yeah.
Lewis Carroll spent a lot of time with, an underage girl that he was fucking obsessed with. I think it was always kind of funny to me that in the Alice games they gave her that name, like further connecting the character to this possible pedophilic, happenings.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a dark game.
Yeah.
They're not.
Not like that.
Yeah.
Not dark like that.
Yeah, that's a whole other kind of dark.
I mean, she's mentally fractured for sure.
She is,
So I mean,
yeah.
it's not like it's definitely if further connecting it, they're definitely not glorifying it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I never really considered it or the implication, the fact that her name isn't, well, her last name isn't in there. It's just never a thought I've had. And now that I know, I don't think it's weird. I just think that good, you should call out these things. The pieces of work still exist, but acknowledging that monsters made it, it's fine.
I don't know that, right? But yeah, there's definitely theories there.
Yeah.
Holy way.
Yeah.
This man.
Good games though.
Yeah, I've never played
those
them.
games are pretty rad.
I always looked at the back of the box in electronic stores, and I was always like, sure would be cool to have a computer that can play one of these, but oh well. And I just put it back on the shelf.
Xbox 360, man, both of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, back when I was looking at computer games in the store, the Xbox 360 didn't exist yet, but.
Also, it didn't come out on 360 until Madness Returns came out, because it was the digital download for the original one.
Sure, but it's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Still got her name on it, so.
I mean.
I'm
saying for a while you couldn't get it without the other game.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, what else you got? What else you got?
Obviously, Nier Automata, that whole game is just full of that shit, right?
Yeah.
The first thing you do is the fucking Theseus paradox. It goes off on fucking Nietzsche and Engels and every fucking philosopher you can think of.
Yeah.
That's what that game is,
Yeah.
And I think that shit's rad.
Yeah. I always I always divined it even 2B's name I felt was kind of a kind of a reference to that what is it called, Hamlet.
And late in the game they sort of reference that, yeah.
Okay. It's the thing about Nier Automata though is that again, I think that you're a lot more well read than I am, so a lot of that shit just kind of, because I kind of take stuff like that at face, whatever the game gives me, I take it at face value, and I don't really see the larger references behind it. So I feel a lot of that stuff is lost on me for the most part.
I mean, there's certain things like Theseus paradox I do, right? But I know when they're mentioning all these philosophers' names that they are philosophers, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know what exactly it was that they were, philosophizing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a game that got me to study that stuff on my own,
Sure.
But even without that, it's still and even if you don't know the names, you still know what does it mean to be a man? Obviously, that game is questioning that. What does it mean to have human consciousness? And what level is it there? In a similar way that Westworld referenced a lot of these things. I don't know. I still I mean, I don't know the names either of most of it, but I was also, when you brought up Nier Automata, I was like, oh fuck yeah, there's so many things referenced in there. I don't even know half of them, but I know it's referencing it.
I've always liked because luckily not all of mine are pop culture related, but I've always liked the way that the Metal Gear Solid games have found a way to insert the characters into real world conflicts. This is where I was during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
And this is where I was.
Kennedy assassination and all that stuff.
And they have all these different ways to insert different characters as having key roles in like different conspiracies or different world events, or they find ways to like make things that were like never proven to be true. It's like, this is what really happened. Snake was there, and like it's just really cool because like because
it's a true story.
Because I would never consider myself to be like a student of history or anything like that, but like I'm aware of a lot of the major events that these games reference, and to give them context in like the larger scale like of the real world, and say and I know that like all of it is like a lot of the stuff that like that inhabits those games is like fantastical for the most part, but they always have a way of explaining it that makes it sound legit. And so I was like, oh yeah, that does make sense. That's why the Cuban Missile Crisis didn't pop off, because these fucking guys were there to punch Fidel Castro in the face or something like that.
It's so funny too, right? Because like that is one of the few series that like you said, deals with some very serious subject matter, but is also goofy as shit.
Yeah.
But you don't feel that, right? You don't feel like it's goofy as shit. It's just like it somehow is like perfectly balanced there. It's very weird.
It's the way
cardboard boxes and ketchups and all that, you know. And fucking, yeah.
I mean, they set the parameters, I feel like, in those games, from what I've seen of them, of like what that universe is and how silly it is, pretty like well and easily. And then they also stay consistent with it. It doesn't feel like from what I know of them, like the Saints Row games, how they get sillier and sillier, or like and stuff like that. I feel like with all the Metal Gear Solid games I see, I'm like, oh, it's that same amount of silliness.
Well, but like it never feels that silly.
And I think that
like as silly as it can be, right? Fucking DARPA chief butt up in the air and shit like that stuff. It's not.
I think
it doesn't ever feel that silly.
They get away.
But you don't need self-aware though of like.
No, it totally is.
I think it
totally
exactly.
It is self-aware, but like at the same time, like the way that like the lines and different scenes are delivered, like everybody's like very self-serious when they say everything. And like there's a guy in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker named Hot Coldman, and everybody says that name with a straight face. And so like but like the way that they present the way that they present like all this stuff is like, yeah, this shit is legit, this is the real deal, and we're giving you facts here. And so like nobody's laughing, so like it all just makes sense. So
same thing, right?
I mean,
same game
when
Boss and Paz go on that date, like they get in a cardboard box and hearts come out, you know, like
they were woohooing in there.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's silly in the universe, it's still silly in real life. So it's the same level of it. My point still stands. I had an example in that, but now my brain broke. Shit.
Well,
it's okay.
You brought up Saints Row, and I've been waiting to bring this one up. There's a part in Saints Row 4 at the very beginning where you're supposed to stop this nuclear missile. And then, so you get on the missile, and then like as you're climbing up the missile, Aerosmith's "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing" starts playing, like as a direct reference to Armageddon. It's just so great, like because it just plays the whole time. It's just like it's like the thing about Saints Row is that like if you want to talk about balancing silly and serious, like it's all so ridiculous. It's like obviously ridiculous, it's just like so cartoonish and dumb, but like they all take it so seriously and it's so funny. Like, and especially that part, like it's like I usually don't like things that are like super on the nose like that, but like it just worked so well. And
it was very funny. You and I both laughed quite a bit.
Yeah, I loved it.
You know, it's funny to say that when you were talking about Watch Dogs and them driving in the car. I thought you were gonna like say something about like, you know how in Saints Row the Third
I hate
driving in the
car. I hate that, like because I harbor this like this like I really don't like Sublime. And so like that entire part was just like the worst for me. Like I hated that.
So funny.
You don't want to listen to Date Rape like on repeat? That's not your jam?
I was just, oh my god, that band sucks. And so like I just like listening.
Is it not enough horns for you?
I need more horns. All right, I'm a ska guy. All right, I need all those horns. But
I was gonna say, reminding me of the balance thing. You know what's not balanced in its silliness and the liberties it takes in its references? Assassin's Creed. I still love most of it, even though I know it's bullshit history.
Sure.
There are times I just like to see, like, I'm like, oh, like this a name pop up, and I'm like, oh, you actually were here. Like, I don't know what you did, but I guess you do
Sure.
this now.
I got to punch George
Like
Washington in the
first-
face in one of those games, so I'm good.
That's what I liked so much about the first game, though, was that the first game was the only one in the series that tried to stay as historically accurate as possible. Not saying
I
that it's
know.
historically accurate, but
I
yeah.
mean, they gave up on that very quickly.
Yeah.
You're very right.
I don't know.
But
those
sometimes
games
it's
got
very
cooler.
interesting, such as being able to punch George Washington in the face.
Man, I punched that dude
Or-
so fucking hard. Assassin's Creed 2 lets you beat the fucking Pope up, so let's go.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I definitely killed some clergy members.
Uh,
I don't really
I mean,
understand
you
how
got to.
Catholicism works, but like I do know that I killed.
that's
some
that's
clergy
part of the whole
members.
thing. Like once you get to a certain point, like in Catholicism, once you get to a certain hierarchy in the clergy, then someone's gonna stab you in the neck. That's what happens. I started.
You die. You get stabbed. It's what you do.
It's funny that you brought up Assassin's Creed because one of mine is an Assassin's Creed one that like I love. So this is actually from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which came out around the time when the Prodigy's Keith Flint died, and which it's not funny that he's dead, but this reference is great. Where there's a part where there's this guy who he has like the same thing going on with his hair as Keith Flint from the Prodigy. You know what I'm talking about. And then
Yeah.
like that Heihachi hairdo that he had going on. And and so like basically the storyline is that there's this bishop in the church that's keeping him from doing his music, keeping him from expressing his art. And so like
That
he's
bastard.
like you gotta help me with this guy. You gotta beat him up so he lets me like play my music. And like so I get in a fist fight with this bishop, and the whole time this guy who's also named Keith is yelling "smack my bishop" over and over again. And it's so funny to me. And it's just like
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I'm down for that kind of reference.
I just feel like if you're like as a way of like immortalizing someone in a game by way of tribute to like do that, it's just so comedic and over the top, and I honestly loved it because just like the smack my bishop, so funny. It's great.
I hope whoever owns the like rights to his like image and stuff, as far as copyrights and stuff goes, like approved that, and that I was like, man, I hope that he wasn't Catholic and where he's like would really hate this.
I mean,
I don't think he was. No.
I mean, I don't think so, but maybe, but you never know.
I
You
really
never
get
know.
I really get secular vibes from that guy. So
Of course, the last one I got, of course, I was going to bring up Shadow of the Colossus.
hell yeah.
So like Dorman in that game is a direct reference to the biblical figure Nimrod, who I guess was Noah's son, who was like dismembered and parts of his body were spread all over the land.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, that is what Dorman is referencing. Obviously, Dorman is Nimrod backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
I
whole
think
thing is
that
like
shit's
very
super
David
cool.
and Goliath. So
Yeah, I guess.
Tom, come on, man. I find that a lot of a fair amount of Japanese games have like Christian symbolism in them, and
yeah,
I never really looked into like what drove that fascination. But I've noticed
Makes for great video games, though.
yeah, I think that like a lot of like the shit that's like, because like there's a lot of stuff within that within that mythology that's like really like fucked up, and like you could easily like convert that into like, cause like I think like all of what's that game called that it's like a platformer, it's like looks kind of like
Sly Cooper?
no, the guy with the cone head with thorns on it.
Oh, Blasphemous.
Blasphemous. Like that game was like filled to the brim with like all that kind of shit. And
Well, it's funny, is the town that they live in, like that's where they got all the art from.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
but I mean, it makes
yeah.
for great games, man. I mean, that's not a
Dude,
Japanese
El
game,
Shaddai,
but
like El Shaddai is straight up about a biblical text that has been since deemed non-canon, even though it is as old as all of the
they,
canonical
they
texts. You
retconned
know?
it. It's part of the
Yeah.
Bible extended universe
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I mean, who needs those? Who needs those Dead Sea Scrolls?
Yeah.
uh,
cool.
I mean, so like one of the things I was looking at with Persona 5 Royal is different like fusion guides for Royal and see how it changed with the new confidants and stuff. And I found one where they give like a description of each persona before you like turn them into like what they turn into. So they're like, yeah, obviously this like Gaelic Kelpie like thing being all snarky about it, and this angel will turn into this succubus,
Sure.
and like how the stories must intertwine. And I thought it was pretty fun. I was like, this is like a fun blog thing to do about like how these things combine.
Yeah. That game is actually also cool with like the DVDs that you can rent that are like obviously like ripoffs of like real world
Yeah.
TV shows and movies. Like they have Wraith instead of Ghost, and there was what was it?
The Beverly 90210
Yeah,
is 20901.
Bubbly Hills. Then they have the Z Files, I think it was, and like just shit like that.
Yep.
It's really great.
Same for the books that you read too.
I can't remember the name of the Slumdog Millionaire one that they made up, but they're all pretty good. But I think so. The one of the ones that I was thinking about a lot was I was thinking about the Black Lives Matter mural and Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And that one was just like you don't like, so you hear developers, right, like all the time, like voicing support for good causes, all the time, like through social media and things like that. But I have never actually seen any of them put one of those messages in a video game before, and it was just really, really like, it was a really nice surprise to like happen upon that. And well, I didn't happen upon it, like a quest line ends at that
Ends
mural.
with it, yeah.
But like that was like a nice, like a really good way to end that quest, because it's all about like your neighborhood coming together and supporting Spider-Man, and like
Well, I also think it's better that it ends on a quest line.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's like a main story quest.
Yeah.
Which means if you're playing that game with the intent to finish it, you're going to see that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like an afterthought either. It definitely seems thoughtful and intentional.
Yeah. It definitely
Well, and the character's always been that way, though, right? Like, Spider-Man was like, I believe the first comic to react to 9/11 as it was happening.
Yeah.
You know? Because they're like, how can we have fucking New York and our most popular character and not bring it up?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like his whole thing is like neighborhood. It's
Yeah.
his neighborhood.
Well,
Yeah.
like, and that's the thing too, is like both Spider-Man are like very much like New York is part of their identity, right?
Yeah.
And so, like having these.
It was done poorly in the comics. The 9/11 thing was done very poorly.
Like I think there's always like, especially there's always kind of a too soon sort of thing with
Yeah.
that sort of thing, but like I think that having that message in there and like putting it front and center like that was like really, really, really impactful to me. And it's one of those times where like I can't ever really truly divine the intentions of people that I don't know personally, but it's one of those things where like, you feel like hey, they're on my side, and that feels good, and I think that was probably the most like it was definitely the most meaningful time like a video game has like referenced something that was real and important. So also, that game just fucking rules, man. That game's badass.
I found Recently, one of my coworkers named their kid Miles, and I was like, I'm down for that.
He named him after Miles Dyson, the real Miles, the original Miles. You know who that is?
I don't get
Shanae?
the reference.
You don't know?
No.
So Miles Dyson was a head engineer at Cyberdyne Industries, the ones who really designed Skynet, right? So
Oh, Terminator stuff. Okay.
yeah, so he gave his life to keep Skynet from becoming self-aware or really becoming invented, and he really just doesn't know how much longer he can hold this. So. Everybody who's listening who has seen that movie gets that reference, and it is hilarious. So don't worry about it.
Oh, you know what? You just totally jogged my memory. Like, fucking half of the shit in Blood Dragon,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah,
is
that-
referencing something.
that whole movie is just like 80s, or not, that whole game is 80s nostalgia. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot. I think Half-Life. I think Far Cry has like as the series progressed like beyond Blood Dragon, like they put more of that stuff in there. Hell, like Far Cry 5 has a point where you're meant to find a politician's P tape. So that was around the time when they were talking about Donald Trump's P tape.
Well, in fact, the whole premise of 5 is loosely based on Heaven's Gate, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I think and as you know, I've said before, like how Ubisoft has always had the chance to like really go for it with that stuff, and they just kind of don't.
Don't.
Yeah, like that whole like those games are like rife with like especially 5 and especially 5, like it's just like like this weird, like not weird, but like this total homage to like 80s action films like the entire time. So
And then I don't know if this would really count or not, but I think in this case I count it. In BioShock Infinite, all of the music there, right? Games obviously have soundtracks, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't just say we're going to count this as a reference to anything.
sure.
But like the way that it's done in that game,
Yeah.
you know, the fact that it's covers to fit the time, I think is really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That barber top quartet version of God Only Knows by the Beach Boys.
Why is that the only one people bring
that-
up?
Okay, well,
It's a weird choice.
I was also going to
Is
say,
it?
well, not really. Like I think thematically it makes sense, but my
Yeah.
favorite one actually is that time where Elizabeth opens that tear to present day New York, and well, like late 20th century New York, and you hear it's like New Year's Eve, and you hear Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears for like 5 seconds. That was really rad. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about the real covers. That's what Tom's pissed off about. Nobody talks about the real
girls
ones.
just want to have
Talk
fun.
about facts over here. What'd you say, Tom?
Nothing.
He's talking about he said
I didn't say anything today.
he said that Girls Just Want to Have Fun is the best one he liked in BioShock. So
That's what I said.
that's what he said. Because I was listening, right?
That's not what I said, but yeah, sure.
That's what he said. Because I don't want to get off on a rant here, but that's a good one.
But yeah, do y'all have any closing thoughts?
No, I just think that shit's cool.
Yeah.
It is cool.
Also,
Yeah.
you know how in Metal Gear Solid 5 you can set like the song that plays when your helicopter shows up? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was mostly talking to Tom because I know you haven't played that fucking game. But I always set it to play Billy Idol's Rebel Yell, and it was always cool when my helicopter showed up playing that song.
Dope.
It's a good-ass song.
Now I really want to sing it, but I won't.
Don't do it, man.
Sing it.
Because
And you're
welcome.
Tom, she's
And you're
literally
welcome.
she's gonna do it like Cher. Like she sings everything. It's gonna be like Cher. She's gonna do that. So go ahead, Shanae. Do Cher sings Rebel Yell by Billy
Take
Idol.
us out.
Yeah.
Take us out.
Go ahead and do Cher sings Rebel Yell by Billy Idol.
All right, I'm trying to think of how to sing it like Cher.
Just
do
sing
the
it like you. That's how it's going to come out.
yeah. Just like you are merely the vessel, Shanae. Cher speaks through you.
With a rebel yell. Sing
That was more like Kermit sings Billy Idol, honestly.
Yeah. I had too much pressure on me, so share receded. I couldn't belt it out.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
But yeah, if you guys want to listen to us after this, you can find us on.
What does that
obviously,
mean,
what you're watching.
Sinead?
She always says that like people don't like us, you know?
Like like my singing, like my Kermit voice didn't like scare them off.
Sure.
It was a reference.
So Sinead, the next time we open the show, you got to open it doing a Fozzie Bear impression.
I cannot. I don't even think I could.
I'll send you
I don't
some
even
reference.
know.
I'll send you some reference material.
No, I want to see you do the Fozzie Bear impression, and I will do an impression of your Fozzie Bear impression. How about that?
Sure. I'll Venmo it to you or something.
You can find us on the YouTubes, most podcast apps like iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. We have a Discord, and bye, guys.
I
Bye.